Central Time. All right. Goodness gracious. We we are live here. I'm live here, and the past two lives that I did, let me just straighten stuff out here. Just kind of getting off of work and everything. And the past two lives that I did, there were some things that I wanted to talk about the disclosure day that I did not get to. So I wanted to go over that a bit this evening. Um, I don't know if any of you knew or know about the New Paradigm Institute, but according to them, there is a let's see here. I'm going to share 'em. I have some clips that I want to play for you guys in just a second. You're not going to be able to see them on Facebook, but you will be able to see them on my YouTube channel, which I posted on my Facebook page. Um, so actually, Disclosure Day is kind of in combination like a ended up being this event. It was a private. It wasn't a private event, but it was held like kind of like a Zoom meeting, and I'm going to go over some of the people that were um, part of that meeting, and we'll go back in time here. Disclosure Day, October 20th, it was actually a due date for any private companies such as aerospace or subcontractors holding any non worldly, non human intelligence or technology, including craft, that wasn't created here on Earth, because the government or unknown special operations, in theory, are holding technologies that are not sharing this information with Congress and the American people. Now, there is a loophole, which I stated a little bit before, about how these companies are giving this technology, non-human intelligence, to um, private aerospace companies, which then allows them to kind of go. They're private companies, so they don't have to worry about the FOIA Act, the Freedom of Information Act. However, the due date was actually changed to September 24th, 2025. And I'm going to play a clip here. Let's see here. All right. And then there was some breaking news that came out here. Um, why don't we go here? All right, we're gonna go there, and we're gonna share this, and I'm gonna play this. Hopefully, that's not what I wanted to play. Oh my goodness. Okay, is it? Yeah, no. Okay. Uh, let's try this again. Share my screen. All right, cool. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replay this, and I have the link in Red Bear Koala. And this is, I've tried to get who this person actually is, and it's kind of interesting. There is a group of people that don't really give their names, and they talk a lot about other people discrediting people within the UFO community. Um, so we'll get to that in a second. But right now, this is a clip of Elon Musk here, and he's being asked about UFO crash retrievals. And also, we're going to get into this. This is very interesting. The Immaculate Constellation program that I believe the journalist Mike talked about that on News Nation. So that deals with crash retrievals, and also that they're supposedly shooting down these crafts, which is really controversial. Anyway, let's just get into the clip right now. I'm going to play this for you.
And Elon, as somebody who is directly involved in the pioneering of space travel, what is your perspective on the suppression of advanced technologies under UAP crash retrieval programs and other black projects such as Immaculate Constellation that have the potential to fundamentally change human society?
I'm not familiar with those programs, but I mean, I certainly think if there are technologies that can be helpful, the government's aware of it. We should obviously provide that technology to the people. I said, well, I was one, according to Homeland Security until I got my, it literally said alien registration card. I'm like, cool. But I mean, thus far, I'm not aware of any evidence for aliens on Earth. I'm not saying they're not here, but I've not seen any evidence for aliens. For our Starlink constellation, we've never had to maneuver around an alien spacecraft even once. And we've got 6,000 satellites up there. So, I mean, they're very subtle, is what I'm saying, these aliens,
Again, being the laughing stock.
But I think if there's if there's interesting stuff that's that the government's aware of that American people would find interesting or useful, we should obviously make that known. We should publish it. So thank you.
All right, so stop that and stop sharing that one. There I am. Okay, and I got a couple other videos that I'm going to share in just a second. Let's bring it out here. All right, just give me 1 second here. And I'm just going to go to my timeline. All right. Okay, so this goes into Disclosure Day. And this is another person that doesn't really reveal who they are. And they're on Twitter, X now, formerly Twitter. And they talk about Disclosure Day a little bit. And then she talks about what I was kind of saying about how they're supposed to turn over this technology. So let's watch this next clip here. I'm gonna share. Give me 1 second. Share. All right, here we go. And play this next.
Have about UFOs or unidentified to the National Archives, which will then be made public. This comes as the Pentagon was just pressed on this very issue.
I'm going to take the shot. What do you got on UFOs, aliens, etc.? Go.
The truth is out there, Jeff. And the truth is we have no evidence to indicate extraterrestrial life has visited the planet.
All right. Well, here with us is Ryan Graves. He is the first active duty fighter pilot to go public and discuss sightings. He is also the founder of Americans for Space Aerospace. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me
Of
this morning.
course. You were an F-18 fighter pilot with the U.S. Navy. You are one of the first active duty pilots to go public about sightings of UAPs. Can you tell us what you saw in the skies?
Absolutely. We came radars and began to see objects in our working areas just off the coast of Virginia Beach that we just didn't know how to explain. They were often stationary or even moving supersonic. And eventually we got close enough to these objects they would often look like a dark cube, either black or gray, with inside of a clear sphere.
When you went up your chain of command and told them what you saw, what was the reaction you got?
Well, unfortunately, we were only able to get so far up the chain before we hit a wall. My presumption would be that this was an issue that would get resolved through some normal channel, through some way. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and it was just an issue that was ongoing, and that we had to.
Oversight committee about your experience. I am curious, what motivated you to go public here, Ryan?
Okay, so that's where I wanted to go with that. But anyway, in the beginning there, you to me the question that was asked to the Pentagon, there's no real evidence. The way that he looked down, being very annoyed about the question, people are really concerned about these types of. It just kind of to me, and I'm making maybe speculation here. Perhaps he's lying. But we have a few more videos here that I wanted to play, and I'm going to just go over to my Twitter account. And I think what we'll do is, so there is a Disclosure Act, like I was saying. The due date now is shifted into September 24th, 2025. And what happened is on actually October 20th, the date that it was supposed to be turned over, there was a Zoom. It was almost like a Zoom meeting, or it was about a 3.5 hour meeting, and it was held by the New Paradigm Institute. And the host of the actual meeting was by Dr. Jim Garrison, PhD. And I wrote here, I think this is actually, so there was a lot of people that had a lot of credentials that were really behind the release of disclosure. So I wanted to touch on some of the people. So the host was Jim Garrison, PhD. The host worked with Danny Sheehan and Sarah at the Christic Institute as director of the Nuclear Policy and director of the Echelon Soviet American Exchange Program from 1985 until 1990. He served as president of the Gorbachev Foundation USA, Gorbachev serving as convening chairman in 2005. He became president of the Ubiquity University. Jim received a BA from the University of Santa Cruz and an MTS from Harvard and a PhD from Cambridge. His books include The Plutonium Culture, America as Empire, The Darkness of God Theology, After Hiroshima, Citizen Diploma, and Civilization and the Transformation of Power. And so he spoke pretty much like throughout the whole event. Following him was Lou Elizondo, and he is a media professional, author, formerly employed by the United States Counterintelligence and the Office under the Secretary of Defense and Intelligence. According to Elizondo, he was director of the now defunct Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, which was associated with the Pentagon's UFO videos. Elizondo's statements about his role with ATIP have been contested by Pentagon officials since 2017. He has claimed there is a government conspiracy to suppress evidence that UFOs are of extraterrestrial origin. We also have Ross Coulhart, reporter for News Nation, that released the David Grush story. I don't know if many of you have seen that. Before David publicly testified before Congress, Ross actually interviewed him, and Ross, which is really interesting, believes that there are some type of, like I was saying, electromagnetic weapons, high pulse electromagnetic weapons that are used to take down these craft. Now, I've heard Dr. Stephen Greer talk about taking down these crafts and how these crafts seem to be, or the operators were basically harmless, and that a lot of the UFO sightings that we're seeing are pretty much our own, and just technology that's not being shared with the public. So again, the and also the recording of this, the giant Zoom meeting that I'm talking about here, a lot of the people that were behind the Disclosure Act, like Danny Sheehan. Danny Sheehan is a Harvard lawyer, a lot of credentials. I don't have a lot of them in front of me right now, but he is one of the founders of this organization with Dr. Jim Garrison, and there's many people that are associated or part of this new Paradigm Institute. Moving on, another person that's part of the new Paradigm Institute that was also part of this meeting was Tim Burchett. I believe he is a senator, I think, for Tennessee. We also had Carl Nell. He's an aerospace executive, senior military officer, and corporate strategics. He worked with different firms like Bell Telephone Laboratories, Lockheed Martin's Missile and Space, and many more. There were a lot of other people that were also part of this organization that spoke, that talked about some incredible stuff. And people that had a lot of credentials. Who else was here? There was Charles Hall from the Nellis Air Force Base. There were small groups of people. There was one that actually talked from the Jesse Marcel Library. And so there were a lot of, a really interesting person too is Steve Bassett, who is the founder of the New Paradigm Institute. And also, he is part of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. And the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance is very interesting about how they have a pact basically regarding movies and leaking information regarding disclosure, that there's supposed to be a certain percentage of truth in that too. There was also someone that spoke from Hong Kong. There were people from around the world. There was Portugal. Ron Janix, who is part of the Contact in the Desert organization. Um, Another famous name, Kevin Wright. And there was another Sabir Hussein, who was the one of the engineers. So there was a lot of bright, really intelligent people, and it was an interesting meeting. The and you can there's actually a link that you can watch if you want to go through it. It's on my YouTube page, and in the not in the comments, but in the description there. And there was a whole Latin American section too. So there's a lot of phenomenon going on in Latin America, in Brazil, as I talked about in some of my earlier videos, Peru, Argentina, um, and each person that spoke, they spoke for not so long in the beginning, more, and then they realized they were kind of running out of time. um, so it was a really cool, interesting thing to watch and listen to. But for me, it I don't know, like all these people can't be lying, it can't be. Um, so we'll see what happens. Danny Sheehan talks about how that we can't wait that long, that we are really close to some type of nuclear threat, or that this technology um, would really help us, and that if we could sign a treaty. So there's a lot of interesting things that were said here during the meeting, and I just wish that more everybody that was talking had more time to kind of. It felt like a bit rushed, um, or whatever. And I guess the whole point about what everybody was saying is, and these are all intelligent people, and even though that we didn't get like the, as people say, the quote unquote smoking gun, that there is something out there and there is something happening, and there has to be a phenomenon, and that is the disclosure. I mean, it's like these people from within are telling us that you know this is happening, and you can see from watching um the Pentagon talk about that, and how they just think, or they just squash it and really quick and they move on. um I don't know. To me, that sounds like you're hiding something. And and that could be also, let's flip the coin here. That can be for the public's best, interest as well. So I don't know. Really interesting stuff. And let's see if we can play another clip here. All right, I'm gonna play another clip, and I'm gonna share my screen. No, there we go. All right, so let's just go back with this, and I'll try to fix this, and then we'll go over. All right. Oh yeah, I'm just kind of on my my Twitter account here. All right. So you have as of yet up there. I think you're probably. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so we're kind of we saw the Elon thing. What else do I have here? So the New Paradigm Institute, that's on my Twitter account. You can see that. Now this is another thing here talking about Lockheed Martin, and this comes from Jeremy Corbell. This is also another link in the description. And it says here that Lockheed Martin tied to the right thing for the United States of America to transfer a UFO and actually whole physical non-human intelligence designed and build possibly interstellar space-time travel capable. All right, there's some more stuff here. So let's watch this video here.
Private company.
Lockheed Martin, their NHFO materials, a material transfer of UAP that was supposed to happen that was shut down specifically by CIA involved individuals. And there's an individual who was head of science and technology at that time. This craft had a streamlined configuration suitable for aerodynamic flight, but no intakes, no exhaust, no wings or control surfaces. In fact, it appeared not to have an engine, fuel tanks, or fuel. So, is this what they were hoping to get to study from Lockheed? Do you know?
And by the way, this is one of the shows that I watch or listen to. It's a great podcast. You can get it on Spotify. Weaponize. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. Yeah, and George Knapp, by the way, is the person that helped bring us Bob Lazar. So if you don't know who Bob Lazar is, there's a lot of info out there on Bob Lazar. It's absolutely mind-boggling. But we're going to go ahead and listen to this. And again, the links are right here in the description of my YouTube. So let's go ahead and listen to this.
Yeah. Yes. There is non-human technology, something from somewhere else, whether it's interdimensional, something that we did not, that we've been analyzing, that's been stashed in presumably special access programs, controlled by defense contractors, presumably funded secretly by
Edgar Mitchell, Six Man to Walk on the Moon, a guy that I filmed. Wasn't something the public was supposed to see. But no, as we've always suspected, the CIA has a lot of communication.
Let's say Marco Rubio convinces the Pentagon or Lockheed Martin, let me into the hangar, let me see the craft. Oh, there's the bodies. He gets to see that with his own eyes and then goes back and what? Can he say it?
You've got a guy who did the investigation, provided that to the inspector general, and said, here is the street address of where this UFO material is being held. Can we assume that this craft that Dr. Lukatsky has direct firsthand knowledge of is exactly what Lockheed has?
You're telling us, you told us, because you were allowed to tell us, that our government has a UFO in its possession and has been able to access the inside of it, right?
Yes.
Man.
But it's delicate. It's our enemies. And
you can watch the rest of the video. It's in my link there. But you kind of get the point there. All right. So we'll go back and all right. So there was we'll just talk about this right now. So supposedly Lou Elizondo, who I've talked about, and he's worked, just talking about him for the Pentagon counterintelligence officer. He's done a lot of podcasts, and I feel like that, and like I was saying, there's this group on Twitter that talks about interesting things and doesn't really reveal who they are. Like he's Lou Elizondo, I'm Jeff Rico, they all have these weird names, and they're always talking about this type of like drama and how there's all this misinformation, and so as you can see here, I'm gonna maybe bring this up a little bit, but this photo here is a photo that supposedly was recently debunked here. Um, and this was debunked by John Greenwald. And what he says here is, yeah, I'll do this. I reversed image searched it and eventually turned up a viral post on Facebook in a group called Mysterious Ancient Discoveries. It got more than 182,000 likes and more than 23,700 comments. It was posted in September 2023. And so then today, you can see here, pause that. Hopefully that audio is not coming through. Go back to my thing. Lou Elizondo posts something about that point. Do his last name. There it is. Oh, where is it? There we go. Okay. So you guys can see that. Perfect. So I'm gonna he said, I'm reposting this article for two reasons. One, that I am not afraid to say when I've made a mistake. And two, I just sent this response to the journalist, who was on a plane until now, but obviously too late for him to include. So I'm posting my response to his question for you all to see. I have chosen to, excuse me, got a little rattle there. I have chosen to put myself out there under the microscope and expect criticism. And I also realize that it's very easy to sit back and judge when not knowing the full context of the situation. And yeah, I see a lot of that. Like, and I'm also hearing that there is this group that works with Lou Elizondo. I mean, these people are talking about this. That it works with Lou Elizondo, and if you do anything, he'll block you, and then these people will come after you, and there's these lawsuits, and they will beat you up, and like from what I'm hearing from that person, like I don't think somebody would have that time. Like if I was to sit here and discredit Lou Elizondo, like who cares? Like, there's really not that many people watching or whatever. So why would he waste his time with people, maybe even say like they're quasi famous or whatever? Why would he waste his time? It doesn't really matter. So, and there's this constant thing where like, I don't know, it just, they're talking about government agencies discrediting, like maybe, and I'm this is speculation, maybe they're the ones discrediting, maybe they're the, secret ops too, and but who knows? I mean, um, they could be influenced in many ways. And I don't know. He said, I tried to put myself out there, quote unquote, under the microscope and expect criticism. And I also realized that it's easy to sit back and judge when not knowing the full context of the situation. My response to the journalist who wrote this article: controversy is nothing new to those who research and study the mystery of UAPs. Controversy can sometimes provide additional insight and is a healthy part of disclosure. From the beginning of my endeavors 7 years ago, I pledged my complete commitment towards transparency and inviting the public to help solve some of these mysteries. As early as 2017, while still at the Pentagon, I um, facilitated the release of the now famous Navy UAP video to help get the public's assistance to figure out what we in the government could not. All right. I don't know if I should really go on. I mean, there is a lot here, and you could probably go ahead and read that. But I mean, that's the video. And in this presentation that he did, it was a paid presentation, he did say that this is a real quote unquote UFO. So people make mistakes, that's right. But again, you wonder how much of this information is actually real, how much of it is not. So just some interesting stuff here. I thought there was maybe another clip here that I wanted to go ahead and play for you guys. Now, regarding that too, this is another one here we'll show. You're seeing here, this is Chris Sharp, who's a journalist. Lou Elizondo has now described what is known as Dome of Lights, referring to a UAP sighting in Romania, one of the most famous occurrences, and it was witnessed in 1977 over Denmark, Finland, and Russia. It's known as, and I'm going to butcher this word, it's the Petrozavstic UFO. And there is a Wikipedia link here. Kind of loading it up. Hopefully you guys can see this okay on YouTube. Did I? Oh goodness, did I bring it all the way up? Yeah, okay. Maybe is it not sharing? Oh no, it's not sharing that screen. No, I'd have to share that screen. It's a separate. Let's do that. Well, you could just see it. The Petrozavstic UFO was a series of celestial events of a disputed can't read it, nature that occurred on September 20th, 1977. The sightings were reported over a vast territory. Well, that's okay. We don't have to go on and read about this, but I think it was just kind of seems like it was a natural phenomenon. And Jeremy Corbell also, he did something interesting, and the famous jellyfish UFO. So I'm going to go ahead and write in here the jellyfish UFO. All right. Let's see here. This is, I think this is the. Well, we'll just talk about it. I'll maybe do another show about that. It didn't look like a typical UFO. It kind of looked like this guy in like this kind of suit that just kind of cruising across, like hovering in the air. And Jeremy Corbell again is saying this is a official UFO thing. And then somebody named Sarah Graham goes on to News Nation and talks about that has been debunked, that is not a real UFO. They know what it is, and it's classified, and they can't talk about it. These people that I'm talking about, Jeremy Corbell, all these people, they are reporters. They make money off of these crazy stories. They do shows, and it just, you wonder. You don't really know what's what. I don't know. So you can go onto my Twitter there. It's Arico at Arico Jeffrey. And you can check out some of the links. There's also some in the description. And I think that's it. That's all I really wanted to go over for this show. It's kind of really late. Feeling a little under the weather. So I hope you guys have a good, happy Halloween. Thanks so much for tuning in, and be well. Peace.